Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on X at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. A very warm welcome to the Movies and TV Weekly. Do you think it's okay to trash movies starring women and made by women? Do you think it's okay to trash movies made and directed by men and starring men? This has become a huge talking point this weekend in terms of Morbius versus Madam Webb. When I first saw the reaction stream on my Twitter timeline for Morbius, I was disgusted. I thought it was cruel. It was verging on cruelty. I saw the Morbius movie. I've seen Madam Webb. I think they're kind of a parallel of the early noughties films. They're very mid, they're very bland, the characters barely have a heartbeat, but they're not the worst things in film I've ever seen. So why are the reactions to those two movies so toxic? I think the reactions to Morbius are more toxic than the reactions to Madam Webb. We'll get there because that's really at the heart of why I'm making this video today. But it is a very interesting situation, everyone, because why? What is the agenda? And there is an agenda behind this. There's a great percentage of Spider-Man fans that will do anything to get Sony to lose the rights to Spider-Man. The irony and hypocrisy isn't lost on me that they're all shilling the Spider-Man games that Sony make, but when it comes to the films, they cry like little babies because they want Kevin Feige and Disney and Marvel to have the rights to Spidey because he's done such a great job so far with the MCU. Look at how he's tarnished the Incredible Hulk with Clever Hulk. Yeah, but you really want him to have full control of Spider-Man. I am not happy with Morbius or Madam Webb either. I'm not happy with a universe, a Spider-Man cinematic universe without Spider-Man in it. He should be there. He should be going after these characters. He should be working with these characters. If they don't want to use Tom Holland for one reason or the other, I don't know why, they could use Andy Garfield. They can use Tobey Maguire. They can cast a brand new Spidey. I don't understand why they're doing it. It's like they're merely making these movies so they can keep the rights. I understand the element of the frustrations of Spider-Man fans. But here's the thing I don't like. It seems to me it was fine to be on the verge of cruelty when reacting to Morbius, but apparently it's quite fine to not, to have a big speech before Madam Webb, before anyone reviews Madam Webb. I don't like to trash movies. I don't remember you lot saying that when you were reviewing Morbius. Now, there's a very famous critic on YouTube, I mentioned him yesterday, Chris Stuckman, who's supposed to be a filmmaker himself. Anyway, yes, that doesn't matter to me anyway. But he did this big little speech that he doesn't like to trash movies, and he concentrated all his criticism for Madam Webb not at the actresses and the female director, but at the studio. What I'd like to ask anyone who's seen his review, if he did a review of Morbius, because I can't find it because I've looked at it, I've looked for it to prove a point, if he had the same energy for Morbius. Did he do this big little woke speech at the beginning of Morbius before reviewing that film that he doesn't like trashing films? Because that's what he did. And the internet are not very happy with him. I like Chris Stuckman. He's a softly spoken, polite guy. He's a gentleman. I like him. I don't have any issues, personal issues with Chris Stuckman. It's not really about him. It's about this attitude. This morning I was on Threads. Aren't they a precious bunch on Threads? It's like they shouldn't call it Threads. They should call it The Shields. Oh my God, it's awful. You can't have your real opinion on there. They're all like I like Fred because everyone's nice on here. But that's not what people are. We're a balance. We're variety. We can't all just breathe in and be nice about things and shield people and lick people's asses. That's fucking boring. Anyway, so that's the issue I have with all of this. With all of this discourse, right? Man and Webb isn't the greatest of films. Morbius isn't the greatest of films. But why? Why are people scared to criticise a movie starring women and made by a woman, but when it came to Morbius, it was fine to trash Jared Leto and Matt Smith? Why is that okay? Why was it fine to trash Jared Leto for being a method actor? But when it comes to Whaman, it's not okay to trash them. I mean, I don't agree with the people who say, oh, the acting in Madam Web was shit, blah, blah, blah. It's not about the acting of the film, it's about the film itself. An actor is only as good as their director and how they're directed to be. I don't know what environment that set was. I don't know the environment of their location shoots. I don't know if there was a studio executive watching over the director and directing the director while she was directing the film. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, Mr. Stuckman, you can't do a review where you're distracting from the women, but blaming the studio because everyone has to take responsibility for that film not being very good. As I say, the reactions to it are over the top. Now, certain people who pretend they're whiter than white, is that a good thing to say? Is white a positive colour anymore? I don't bloody know. You can't even say anything anymore. Anyway, so, you know, these people they're like the people who say I never lie. Everybody lies. How do I know? Dr. Gregory House told me. But that's the thing here. You know, they start their videos by saying, I don't like trashing movies, right? Let's be honest, right? We all used to watch Jeremy Kyle or Jerry Springer because we like an element of negativity, right? It distracts from our fucked up lives. It distracts from our fucked up selves, right? We like seeing Chef Ramsay launch at some poor person. We used to like seeing Simon Cowell launching on people on Pop Idol and The X Factor. There's an element of us that thinks it's fun. So when you get these really cruel videos about films and they tear them to pieces, they're functionally based videos actually that actually look at the films, people like Mauler. And it's really funny that when people are really offended by content creators like that, they're working class people. If you went into a shop and you bought an off milk and you drank the off milk and you're up all night and your stomach was killing you, would you say I don't like trashing off milk, or would you be launching at the shop assistant? I think we all know what you would be doing. This attitude. And it is two types of people you see on the internet and on social media doing this. It's the ones with little animated profile pictures who you never know what they look like, and there's highly successful YouTubers also saying, yeah, Chris Stuckman's right. Why are people upset because he didn't trash this movie? Because he'd be happy to trash a movie starring a male, directed by a male. I'll never forget the Joker crap. You know, how they were saying if you went and saw Joker, you'd end up being shot and killed. All because it starred a man. So the hypocrisy isn't lost on me. Why is it okay to trash Morbius, but it's not okay to trash Madam Web? This is the real issue here, everyone. This is the hypocrisy here, everyone. And it goes back to current day. It goes back to the culture war. That's what it's about. Because these people are upset that the Marvels flopped, a movie made by a woman and starring women flopped. And they're upset that another film starring women, directed by a woman, flopped. They're very, very upset. Look at how they won't let us hear the end of the Barbie success, right? Directed by a capable woman and starring capable actresses. Really, really good actresses. I mean, America Ferrera, I'll never forget her as Ugly Betty, Margot Robbie. You know, there's a difference. You know, if you want to look at the stark difference between Barbie, it's made by competent people. And Madam Web and the Marvels isn't made by a competent studio, isn't made by competent people. There's the stark difference. If you want to see more good diversity, more better female-led movies, get competent women to make those movies. It really is simple, but these people just want to cheat the narrative and pretend they're diverse. Look, the industry isn't diverse anyway. It doesn't really believe in representation because it closes its gates and it only represents the people behind the gates. It's why I don't care about awards season, because it's just a bunch of people who bake the cake saying, oh, I think you should vote for my cake. I think my cake was the best. It's all so corrupt and bullshit, and a lot of people fall for it. The problem is a lot of people talking about entertainment online are full of shit, right? And they think their takes are better than everybody else's. So if you're one of those people, before you review Madam Web, saying, oh yeah, I don't like to trash movies, but I didn't like that movie, you're trashing it. You're trashing it. You're a hypocrite. Why didn't you make that speech before Morbius? Please explain to me. Why? We know why. Because you are a hypocrite. You were fine. Why is it okay to trash Zack Snyder? Why is it fine to mock Zack Snyder's work? Right? But it's not fine to mock the work of S.J. Clarkson. Please explain to me. Why is it okay to drive James Gunn off of Twitter, but it's not okay to criticize S.J. Clarkson? It's like we're living in Putin's fucking Russia now. Even the Access media, look what happened the other day. You know, a pro-Palestinian actor accused Superman Legacy of moving him off that project because he was pro-Palestinian. Within an hour, Access media were defending Gunn and Warner Brothers. We're living in Putin's Russia. You know, you've got a Hollywood Reporter trying to rewrite history and saying, well, no, it's wrong. It's toxic fans saying that Dakota Johnson doesn't like Madam Web. No, she blatantly was acting like she doesn't like the film, and she said many changes, studio changes, were made. Of course, they're blaming each other. This is what they do when things go fucking wrong. That's the type of industry that we're a part of now, right? It's a bunch of incompetent fools who point the finger, either at themselves or us, us the viewer. That's the problem here. And if you're telling me that it's not okay to trash a movie starring females and directed by a female, but it's okay to trash Morbius, a film directed by a male and starring males, then we have a bit of a problem, because you didn't have the same energy when it came to Morbius, which is about the same level movie as Madam Web. And I have to ask why. Why is it not okay to trash Madam Web? Because the film isn't very good. People are passionate about their entertainment. So when they press play, but they press record on a camera, they get upset and they mouth off, like I'm doing right now. We have to stop this, everyone. We have to stop making entertainment about our politics. A bad movie made and starring by women has to be treated the same as a bad movie starring and made by men. And you're telling me, because Madam Web was made by women and starring women, we shouldn't be trashing it. That's what Chris Stuckman is basically telling us right here and right now by his I don't like to trash movies. Something he hasn't done before. As I say, someone should share me his Morbius review. I'd like to see it, because as I say, I can't fucking find it. So that's very interesting as well. Has he deleted it? Did he not do a review for Morbius? Maybe I just can't find it. Maybe it's just me. So if you do find it, share it to my Twitter X at Movies TV Mad. I'll be very interested if he does a pro-woke speech about not wanting to trash movies, and I bet he doesn't. And if he has, I'll take the L. Being a content creator is about taking the L. But I think for all you people out there who, start your reviews with, I don't like trashing movies. As I say, it's like someone saying, I never lie. Everybody lies. Everybody lies. And that's okay. Sometimes we lose our tempers online. As I say, on Threads, there was this guy. I don't like to trash movies, but I agree with everyone about Madam Web. But when I quote tweeted him saying, yeah, I bet you had the same energy for Morbius, he fucking swore at me. So, and told me never to, his exact words, don't ever fucking quote me again, he said. Well, I did, because don't threaten me and don't tell me not to quote you, because I'll do exactly what you tell me not to. It's obvious, isn't it? I don't want to fight with people over films. This is $1 billion industry. I don't want to argue over wealthy people. It's not worth our time. We're just ordinary working class people passionate about entertainment. But what's good for Jared Leto and Morbius is good for Madam Web. If you launched into Morbius, which I think the reactions to Morbius were toxic and disgusting, and people took too much joy out of trashing that movie, because, as I say, I remember what people said about Morbius. Now we got people saying before they reviewed the movie, I don't like trashing movies. The same people that trashed Morbius are saying they don't like to trash movies, right? Think about that for a minute. Think about that. So they do like trashing movies when they're made and starring men, but they don't like trashing movies when women are involved. Why? What's the difference? What is this double standards for women? Why? I don't get it. I don't understand. Why is it one rule for Jared Leto and another rule for Dakota Johnson? Why? I don't understand. Can someone explain that to me? Can someone explain why it's not okay to trash Dakota Johnson's performance? That it's not okay to trash S.J. Clarkson as her job as a director on Madam Web, but it's okay to trash the director of Morbius. It's okay to trash Matt Smith and Jared Leto. Why? What's the difference? Why is one thing okay and the other thing's not? As I say, people pay to see a movie. If they want to trash a movie, that's okay. But we've always got these white knights online who pretend they don't like to do this and they don't like to do that. And when you go through what they've done in the past, it depends what they're talking about. I don't like to trash movies. If you don't like something, right, just speak about it how you want to. There's no rules here. There's too many people on the internet telling us how to feel and what to do and what to say. And I'm damn angry about it. I'm fed up about it. I really am, because this is my channel. So if I talk about something I don't like and I want to trash it, I should be able to. But within myself, I should be able to take a step back without being overly toxic about that subject. But I shouldn't trash Morbius, but then say, oh, before Madam Web, before I talk about Madam Web, say, oh yeah, I don't like to trash movies, especially ones made and starring women, because women are important. We need more women representation. Fuck off. That's my attitude. Fuck off. So for all those people defending Chris Stuckman, I like him, but he's a hypocrite on this subject, because he hasn't consistently said he doesn't like trashing movies. But suddenly he doesn't like trashing movies. And there's a deeper issue here. If you're a critic, you have to trash movies. You don't have to be disrespectful personally towards people, but if you don't like something, you've got to say it. But here's the problem. We're in an industry where people don't like to hear, we didn't like what you made for us. And, there's a deeper issue there as well. Because, the people in this industry are very, very, let's say, not very nice. If they think you have said something like, I don't like what you've done, just once, they see it as hatred. And if you ever try and make it in the industry, they'll make sure you don't make it in the industry. And Chris Stuckman knows this, and Chris Stuckman's trying to make a movie. And Chris Stuckman now basically can't be a critic anymore. He can't. Because if this is a guy making a movie and has to mind his P's and Q's, just in case they don't let him in the golden gates of Hollywood, then he can't be a critic anymore, because we can't trust you anymore, Chris. Because if it's one rule for Madam Web and it's another rule for Morbius, we have a bit of a problem here. Morbius and Madam Web ain't great movies. We all know that. Are they the worst movies we've ever seen? No. But people overreact. If people want to overreact, they can. It's okay. I mean, I was shocked when the reactions to Morbius came out. I'd seen Morbius early and I thought, wow, this is an overreaction to the film that I've seen. I was shocked. But there's clearly an agenda of trying to force Sony to not have the rights to Spider-Man. It's never going to happen. You know, Spider-Man's worth too much money. They're not going to relinquish those rights to Disney. Because Disney shouldn't have the rights to Spider-Man either. Because they can't be trusted either. And it's funny how they give credit for Spider-Man No Way Home to Kevin Feige. Who do you give credit for Spider-Man Homecoming? Or the other one, which were two bland movies, by the way. Probably just as bland as Madam Web and Morbius. So what do you say about that? Was that down to Kevin Feige? Or is it only the good stuff we give Kevin credit for? Interesting, isn't it, how the internet decides how things work, but none of it's truthful. That everyone makes a decision on what they say so they can sleep better at night. So everyone kind of rewrites history and creates narratives, right? So there's a narrative that Morbius is one of the worst films ever made. It's not, but people create that narrative, then it becomes a reality. That Madam Web is the worst film ever made. It's a reality for people, but it's not a reality. It's just a narrative that people come up with. And if you want to talk that way about films, if you want to create your own narratives, that's fine. But you've got to have the same energy for both movies. And at the end of the day, it's basically quite simple. The reason nobody said before trashing Morbius, I don't like trashing films, and everyone before Madam Web is saying, I don't like to trash films, is because Madam Web was made and starring by women. That's it. Made by a woman and starring women, and Morbius was starring a bloke. So it's okay to trash blokes. Is it any wonder that male suicides are higher than female suicides? There's no wonder, is it? Because it's open season on men, but it's double standards for women. It's diplomatic immunity for women today. It's quite fine, apparently, for Amber Heard to try and destroy, Johnny Depp's reputation. But apparently, if anyone online tries to hold her to account, that's wrong. This is where we are today. And I don't think it's going to end just because I say it has to end, but it does have to end. We do have an issue here. We do have a problem here. Because that's why people are saying they don't like trashing movies before they speak about Madam Web. Because Madam Web is an indefensible movie. It's not a good movie. And because they can't defend this movie, because they can't find a positive angle for this movie, they have to blame everybody else for hating on it. Well, what did you expect was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? If it was fine, as I say, I was one of the few people who were saying, chill out on Morbius. You people are crossing the line. Nobody was listening to me. But it's not okay to do the same thing with Madam Web because it's starring a woman. And that's the issue, isn't it? That's the fucking issue. Because it's starring a woman, we can't say it's a crap movie. Why? Why does Dakota Johnson, why does S.J. Clarkson get an out because of their gender? Why? I don't understand. What are the rules here? You're going to have to explain the new rules to me because I don't really understand any longer what the rules are. Because nobody was saying, nobody. I was one of the few people that called out the toxicity about Morbius, but everyone was fine on, lynching in to Morbius. But it's not fine to go into Madam Web. You're going to have to ask me you're going to have to educate me here. The new rules. Because basically, you guys were, the toxicity aimed at Morbius was disgusting. And as I said earlier, Madam Web isn't nearly getting the same toxicity. Yes, YouTubers are mocking it, quite rightly so. When you do something bad creatively, you know, as a creative, you know, they should be educated before they start making films that this, you know, it's a consumer-based industry. And if you do something bad, you're going to be mocked, right? And they should get training. They should get preparation for this type of thing. But they're not. Do you really think you have the divine right for people to be nice about your work? That's not how art works. When you put your art out there to be seen, you're being ready to be shot down. When I make this video, I accept that I'm going to be shot down. That's how it works. That's how life works. But these precious little people make me laugh. Oh, you said something mean about my movie. It's not fair. But you were fine when people were saying mean things about Morbius, when people were toxically going after Zack Snyder, when people in the industry were going after Zack Snyder, when comic book artists and writers were going after Zack Snyder, everybody was fine. But we're not allowed to trash Morbius. Are these the new rules? You're all a bunch of fucking hypocrites as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, that's where I am with that. People should be able to be free to say, I don't like a movie. And there can't be rules for female-led movies and male-led movies. The thing is, you're all just upset because female-led comic book movies aren't doing well. And they're not doing well, not because they're starring women and they're made by women, because they're made by substandard talent. And until you get the real talent in to do great female-led comic book movies, this is what's going to happen. And you'll see the difference between Supergirl starring Millie Alcock, you know, compared to the Marvels and compared to the latest piece of crap that they put out there, Webb. There will be a big difference because the quality will be there. And I hope so, because I love Supergirl. I don't have a preference to male superheroes or female superheroes or who makes them. It ain't about the culture war for me. I want to celebrate and enjoy movies and television at the end of the day. But you know, Sony don't care. They just want to keep the rights to Spider-Man. And we all know that. And this is what's going on here. But we cannot live in a fucking world where women have diplomatic immunity and men don't. And this is the whole discourse over this movie, Webb. They don't want us to criticize it. So why do I think that Chris Stuckman is being attacked so heavily about his pre-statement before reviewing Webb? Because it's full of hypocrisy. He says he doesn't want to trash a movie, and all he had to do is review a movie without trashing it. He didn't have to make that speech at the beginning of his video. That's what tarnishes his reputation, because he's a critic. And you have to be balanced, and yes, sometimes you have to be negative about art, and that's okay. But as I say, I bet you any money when it came to the Morbius review, if it even exists, he didn't make the same pre-speech. And this is where your hypocrisy lies, Chris, and this is why you're being called out. But you've got many friends defending you, fellow successful YouTubers, you know, that have, you know, that special DNA as you have. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they say, what they do. You were hypocritical for doing the video that way, that I refuse to trash movies. Basically, you didn't want to say anything negative about those women, so you distracted everyone with the studio. But those women put that movie together. Those three actresses starred in that movie. And that female director directed the movie. So you can't criticize one entity without criticizing the other. S.J. Clarkson is an experienced director. She's directed TV before, you know, but she's not, you know, if you want to make a really good movie and you want people to love that movie, and she's not one of the top directors, she's not even one of the top female directors in the world in this moment in time. I'm shocked that S.J. Clarkson even got to direct that movie. I remember when she used to direct Life on Mars. I think she used to direct the British version of Life on Mars, right? A capable director. But a huge project like that, even though the movie isn't even that ambitious, in its scope if you compare it with other comic book movies either. But that is my stance on the whole situation. This is where the discourse lies, that there's certain people in this world that believe that women should have diplomatic immunity. Where were all these morals when you were all going after Morbius?